Okay, class, welcome to our first lesson of trigonometry using the trig ratios. Trigonometry is used all the time in work, whether we're building something with landscaping or building any kind of building. Trigonometry is always involved to make sure structures are strong and angles are correct. So you're building your angles, your building is being built at 90 degrees. So a couple things. In order to do trigonometry, we need to be able to label the sides. So here we have angle, we're trying to find angle DEF. So that's DEF. They call that angle theta. That is a Greek letter. So sometimes we use the Greek letters theta, sometimes beta, which looks like a bee with a tail, and sometimes alpha, which looks like a little fish. So those three letters we sometimes refer to as the angles, but theta is the most common. So theta is like a circle, and then you just draw a line through it. Okay? So with this, but with the computer, it looks a little bit different. With theta, you always label your HOA. H stands for hypotenuse. HOA, H-O-A, hypotenuse. And label it in this order, really important. O stands for opposite, or the side opposite the angle. And the one that we don't know what it means is A, that's adjacent. Adjacent means next to, but we have to make sure we don't confuse that with the hypotenuse. So we start by putting our pencil at 90 degrees and draw a straight line. I said straight line to the hypotenuse. Now I usually just start calling this HYP because hypotenuse is really long. Whew. Then I put my pencil at the angle of interest. In this case, it's theta. I draw a straight line, and that's the opposite. And usually I just go OPP. I write that down. Now, the side that's left over, which I don't know what it is the adjacent side. And so I'll write down ADJ. And there you go. It's done. I have to label those sides because our trig ratios of sine, cos, and tan all depend on knowing your HOA. So you're going to practice that. On the triangles below, you're going to label H, O, and A. So when you find your angle theta, you can label your hypotenuse, opposite, and adjacent. And here you go. So looking at this example right here, we will go and do labeling your HOA. Pencil at 90 degrees, straight line, that's your hypotenuse. Angle of interest, straight line, that's your opposite. And the one that's left over, adjacent. Label your HOA in that order. So what is the hypotenuse? Well, the hypotenuse is side 15. That's how long it is. What about opposite angle theta? Well, that's 9. That's opposite angle theta. What about adjacent angle theta? Well, adjacent would be 12. There you go. Next example, so exact same thing. You're going to be labeling your HOA. You practice it. GOA. Label your HOA. So you should have started with 90 degrees, gone up here, that's hypotenuse. Then you should have started with theta and gone down, that's the opposite. Always straight lines. One that's left over, adjacent. So which one's hypotenuse? 15, opposite is 12, and adjacent is 9. So if you change angles, what do you notice? You change your HOA. Right? So we went from the bottom angle to the top angle, and what happened with O and A? Did you see what happened? They flip-flopped. So when you change angles, you change your HOA. Okay, so here you go, doing assignment number 4, labeling your HOA right here. Okay, go ahead, do assignment 4. Then we can continue with assignment 5. Okay, so we're continuing. Here's the 3 trigonometric ratios, just the basic ones. We have sine, which we abbreviate as S-I-N-E. So we say it, sine. And then we have cos, which we say is short for cosine. And then tangent, we can all say in short is tan. So sine is opposite over adjacent. OPP, sorry, sine is opposite over hypotenuse. Cosine is the adjacent side over the hypotenuse, and tangent is the opposite over the adjacent. So these are all ratios of numbers. Good. these ratio, so there's a little blurb you can read here. Sine ratio, again, we use on our calculator, you will see the word sin. Okay, so sine theta equals opposite over hypotenuse. So here, the first thing you do is label your HOA. Number one, label your HOA always. So start here, straight line, that's the hypotenuse. Here's your angle of interest, straight line, that would be your opposite. The one that's left over is your adjacent. So then you can write down sine theta equals, and you must have something here. There must always be something here. And what something would it be? Well, that something would be a letter, capital letter, or an angle number. And we use this example, the capital letter theta. And so sine theta is opposite over hypotenuse, which equals 5 over 12, which equals 0.3846. Okay, you always want to have 4 decimals for your ratio. Now, if you round or just write them, doesn't matter. I won't mark it wrong. Good. So on your calculator, though, if you're given the angle, you can use it. You can calculator to find the ratio. So calculators are what we call old. First of all, make sure your calculator is in degrees. So there might be a DRG key on there. So for me, on my old scientific calculator, this calculator is like my phone. If I press DEG, it'll change to radians. Press it again, it'll change to gradians. But I want degrees. So I don't want any of these two up top. I want degrees. On my graphing calculator, with this type of calculator, I call this the new type because they didn't have these in the old days. If you press the button sine, you'll see it, the word is written on the screen. Or if I press the word cos, the word's up on the screen. Or if I press the word tan, the word's up on the screen. So this is a newer style of calculator. Phones are not like this. Phones are like this old school calculator. And these two calculators, you use them different ways. They're the opposites. So if you see the word, okay, if you press sine, you see the word, you just type in sine 15 degrees equals. So this is going to be type 1. Type 1, you would go press sine. You would see the word, you'd press 15, then you press equals, and then you go to your answer. For type 2 calculators, like your phones, type 2, these would be your phones, you would go 15, enter in your number, then you press sine, and then you have your answer on your screen. Okay? So you don't have to press equals. Good. So the sine ratio, opposite over hypotenuse. First of all, you get your fraction, and then from your fraction, you get your 4 decimals. So this is simply 5 divided by 13. Okay, same thing in the cosine ratio. Label your HOA. So 90 degrees, hypotenuse, opposite, and then the one that's left over, adjacent. So we say cos theta equals, and it's a over h, so it would be 12 over 13. And then you just go to your decimal, 0.9231. There you go. Now, if you're doing it, if you're given the angle and you want to find your ratio, then you just type it in like we did up above. So you can either do cos 15 equals, or you can do 15 cos equals. All right. So you have to figure out which kind of calculator you have. All right. Good. So if you have a phone, if you're using your phone, this is what you would use. It's an old school type of calculator. Then after cosine, you have the tangent ratio. So again, first step is label your HOA, and then you will go find your ratio. Tan theta equals opposite over hypotenuse. sorry, opposite over adjacent, so 5 over 12. You're doing those two sides. Then that's simply 5 divided by 12. You go to 4 decimals, 0.4167. So we can say tan theta equals 0.4167. All right. And so then you can go and do these, and you're good to go. Making sure your calculator's on degrees. If you're having any trouble with these, see me, I'll help you. Here we're doing assignment 5, so let me just show you this one. Label your HOA. All right. So here's 90 degrees, hypotenuse, straight line, opposite, adjacent. You don't know anything about adjacent because you don't need it. So sine theta equals the fraction, and then you go to your decimals. So the fraction would be 4.3 over 6.9. I go to my calculator and I simply go 4.3 divided by 6.9, and I get 0.6231. 0.6231. And if you rounded that to a 2, that's fine. Okay? There you go. Good. Then you're just using your calculator, then you're doing cosine, then you're using your calculator, using tangent, using your calculator, and it's a bit of a mix-up. Now these guys here are special, and that's because it's 90 degrees. Okay? 9 degrees. So careful with that. All right, good luck.